Hello and welcome to the Dublin Arsenal preview show. I'm your host, Jonathan Giles. On tonight's show, I'm joined by regular guest Eamon Donnelly and by avid Manchester United Dublin fan Dessie Robinson to preview our clash versus Ruben Amorim's Man United side at the Emirates Stadium this coming Wednesday, December the 4th, live on Premier Sports 1 at 20:15 p.m. So sit back and enjoy the show. As I said, I'm joined by my regular preview show guest, Arsenal season ticket holder, Eamon Donnelly. How are you, pal? How's the duck?
Evening, Jonathan. Evening, Dessie. Yeah, I'm just back in the door. I've been listening down to the eavesdroppers anonymous there. Don't tell anybody. Don't know about it yet. And I said to me personal trainer there, could you teach me to do the splits? He says, how flexible are you? I said, well, I can't do Tuesdays and Fridays there, but we're all good. How are you, Dessie?
How are you?
I'm also joined by Dessie, aka the John Giles lookalike Robinson. How are you, pal?
I'm very good indeed. Very good indeed. I told you, John Giles is 85, so
you don't look a day over 83.
I'm only 83.
I'm sure we don't have a few.
You know, Johnny's younger brother, Christy, he's 82. Did you ever come across him?
I met him once or twice.
It's great to have you on, Dessie, and I'm sure this is going to be a few laughs as the show goes on. Yeah, it's a big clash this coming Wednesday. Ruben Amorim has there's positive signs for Man United fans at long last, I suppose. But first of all, Dessie, as I ask every away fan, why Man United, pal?
Well, Man United, where I lived, I'm born and bred Ballyfermot, not too far from where I'm living now, and it was either Man United or Leeds, and most of them was like we made up the road with Leeds, and a few fellas we didn't like. So the other way around, a few fellas we didn't like were Leeds, so we were going to be United, and it was always going to be United, and it has been. I don't have the traditional, father son following. Don't have that. I just have the fact that I have been. My three boys are now. They're not. We're all Man United sports, so I've always been. Right through the bad times and the good times, and
Yeah.
But it was mainly out of that it was either United or Leeds back then.
Yeah, that was the big thing, wasn't it? It was either with the Irish contingent that was playing over there at the time, wasn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely. But it was there, as I said, like you'd always at that time back then, like in the 70s, you like Alex Stephanie, the goalkeepers, people like that, you just admire. And I remember going to, funny enough, we played Everton yesterday. One of the first matches I went to was in the mid-70s that I actually went to. It was against Everton. And I remember thinking just, how fantastic it was. Like even that match, I think it was 1975, we were losing 1-0 and we ended up, I think it was, Stevie Coppell. I think was playing Stevie Coppell that day. No, Sammy McElroy was on the wing, and we actually won 2-1. And I remember my love for it has always been there. It's just Man United.
You see roller trousers on that day, did you?
Well, here, no, waddy.
Mira, let's go for a little walk.
Yes. Yeah, it's like even just like even the generation of myself, it's either Liverpool or Man United. It's like it's gone through the generations here in Ireland, hasn't it? It's either Man United, Liverpool, or Arsenal's coming into their own, but it's still predominantly those two sides, isn't it? Yeah.
And if you go back even then, there was a big rivalry. They were around 79. Remember that the cup final of the FA Cup final in 79, where I think at that time there was probably 7 or 8 Irish players on them two teams.
Right, yeah, probably would have been Norman Whiteside, like Brady,
They would have been easy, I'd say, at that time. Like,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah,
was the core of that at that time again, big rivalry around that time. But like, still, but that's my love for United, and it's never wavered at all, despite our recent downturn. But like, you know,
we're going to delve into that quite soon.
yeah,
Dessie, I hope you don't mind.
no,
Um,
not at all.
yeah, it's like I suppose it's 13 years now. Since Alex Ferguson's gone now, isn't it?
Yeah,
And yet another manager, sadly, Eric Ten Hag, just didn't fit the United away, you could say. But Ruben Amorim, 3 games in now, 4 points in his first 2 Premier League games. You can kind of see that he likes the back 3 and his fullbacks going forward. And Amad Diallo, I have to say, from watching the highlights on Match Today last night, had a really good game. You know, probably he can see there's a player there, but he really expressed himself yesterday. You could see Marcus Rashford kind of coming back into his old form there yesterday. You know, how have you felt it's gone under Ruben Amorim? It's early days yet, but do you see positive signs?
Well, I did, but to be honest with you, when I seen him against Ipswich last week, I said same old.
Yeah.
But when I seen it this week, it looked a lot better. Like the 3 at the back, 4 mid, 2 front, and then Radford up there in the middle of his own. It looked better. It definitely looked better. And like that wide play and the ball's going in, that suited us. I mean, if you looked at one of the balls yesterday, and I think when one of the second goal, I think it was, that came out onto the right hand side, no one even looked. He just hit the ball to the right and knew there was a player to the right. Now, knowing that, and that's the type of play you need to have, like knowing that your player is there, you're not looking and waiting. Like the player went out to the wide, picked it up, back in. Amorim, I think that might be an Amorim. No, was it Amorim that brought the ball in and passed it? Then for the second goal.
It was actually Diallo. Yeah, you're right there. Yeah.
You know, and like when I seen that, I said, now that's the type of play you need. You need that kind of wide play, people playing off each other. And I think that was a change. Now, look at it, to be perfectly honest with you, with big match on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Big Wednesday, and that would be the huge test.
Yeah.
That's going to be a tester for me to see how they play. I think the last time I was when Arsenal were playing United, I was over there with EAMONN.
Yeah, it was a
It was a Wednesday night as well.
It was a nil-all draw on a Wednesday night, freezing in February. Yeah,
that's right. That was a few years ago, and but like again, as I said, I'd be 3 or 4 matches against the decent teams in the league now. That's where you want it, and probably Arsenal as well.
Yeah, it's like we've Eamon, come to yourself. We've had nightmares of Ruben Amorim when in the Europa League, that goal from the halfway line that knocked us out, and they won on penalties that night. This United, I still think, not being biased or anything, I think we've the strongest team, the first 11 and bench wise, compared to United. But this is a different animal now, Eamon, isn't it? Like the manager bounce effect. Would you fear Wednesday night that could we be in for a game?
Well, Jonathan, when I look at our bench over the last couple of weeks, since we've had our players back, I actually think we have the strongest squad in the league. Right? All sorts of mad things have happened to us this season, as you know. And we've been patching the team up, as Arteta said. There were times when we only had 11 or 12 players training. Yeah. But we've got our squad back. And I think when we have our squad back, when you look at it, if we could be lucky enough to hold on to them fitness-wise. But you see, I just want to cover this Amorim thing. Like, Amorim, it's going to take him 4 or 5 months before his imprint is fully on the team. You get a kind of a bounce from a new manager. And the reason why you get a bounce is, well, we don't understand, because we all love the game. And we run around like it's 3-in out in the back garden, and we think that if only I was doing this for a living, I'd never be unhappy. Players aren't like that, right? So it was quite obvious to me that the United players are down tools under Ten Hag, right? Because they have good players. And I watched a lot of Man United over the last year, because as Dessie would know, I'm very keen on the game. I'm very keen to kind of see, and some of the combination play over the last 12 months with United, at times in games, has been wizardry. And then you get, it was a bit like a kind of a Rolls Royce being driven by Laurel and Hardy. You kind of, something mad happens at the back.
Another fine mess you got us into.
Yeah, another fine mess, And then they're too soft-centered. But I think that's because when the players are not playing for a manager, well, first of all, the players should always play for a manager, but they don't. That's the reality of professional football. They don't. I think they're down tools, and every now and then, for the crowd, they'd get up and they'd do something, and it was just going nowhere. This guy has come in, and the first thing that happens is everybody starts thinking, what about me? What about me weekly wage? What about me contract? So that's why you get the bounce. I don't think United beat Everton yesterday because Anton Amarin did. Because, if that were the case, you'd change manager every 2 months. If a new manager can come in and do wonders in 3 games, you should just keep changing them. But I think Amarin is a superb manager, and they've got to give him time. And in fairness to United, they haven't been wielding the axe they gave Ten Hag a couple of. Ten Hag was a very good manager at Ajax, just didn't work out for him.
Yeah.
But they were patient with him, and they've got to be patient with this guy as well. And the last thing I'd say about the state of Man United, probably I've said it to you, Dessie. Myself and Dessie go out cycling together sometimes. I've said it to Dessie. The one thing that United can't do is do half and half. They've got to burn the house down. There's some very high earners there who won't or shouldn't be there for too much longer. They've got to burn that house down and go with a new wave of optimism, with a new manager, and give him time. Not unlike what happened in our place in 2019, because anybody who knows the Arsenal knows Arteta inherited a toxic environment and had to burn the house down. And I think United need to do the same. But they have a good squad there, and they're a dangerous team. When they play well, they're a very, very dangerous team,
Yeah. But and on that. Sorry, on that, what I'm saying in relation, if you take even Rashford yesterday, the difference, right? Yeah. And that's the difference. He was playing, didn't become a bad player overnight. He either hadn't got the willingness or whatever it was. But yesterday, he's a different player. Whatever he hits goes into the back of the net. And the 2 times, if you take it, and that's a player that's just was not playing. He was thrown out every now and then. Was not playing.
Just on Rashford yesterday, did you notice the pace at which he did things?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember then the game against Liverpool early doors in the season when he couldn't get around the fullback and the crowd? Anytime he went backwards because he hadn't got the confidence, the crowd were murdering him. Yeah. Rashford is a really top player.
And when Ahmad, if you had a look yesterday, when Ahmad was on the right hand side coming in, Radford went in between two left, the left,
that's right,
left row, and in around them. He wasn't doing that. They're the type of players that you'd say, why is he not going in there? He went in there and scored a lovely goal. The second one, now the first one got a bit of a deflection, but nonetheless, it was on its way. But I would say definitely in terms of it needed that change. Ten Hag got the opportunity. It didn't work for him. He'll go somewhere else and probably do very, very well. It happens, But I do think
as long as he stops talking about this team is going to explode and shoot the load, it's going to shoot the load and everybody can cheat.
Well, he could be talking like that and saying that players said that bad are not worth a buck. But the fact of the matter is that these players that we have today are much better group of players. They get paid too much money. That's what's wrong with them.
Do you think, Dessie, yourself? Do you think Ten Hag should have walked? If he had lost that FA Cup final, do you think that would have possibly been the end of him? And do you think he might have it was the wrong decision from the United hierarchy to give him?
I think at that time it was probably the wrong decision, right?
Yeah.
When you've got a one match, the final against City, and you win it, okay. You could say that, but look, you could equally say that Van Nistelrooy winning, not losing 4 matches, I think. And why do we not hold on to them? We've done it with Ollie Gunnar Solskjaer,
Yeah.
and it worked out, and then back to the same thing. So look, it's hard to know. I would have thought he was gone last year, definitely. I would have thought that he would have used the opportunity during the summer to, even after winning it, and let him go.
It's funny you should reference. Sorry for cutting across. It's funny you should reference the Solskjaer thing, because I always had an issue with these gobshites on Match of the Day and all this, saying that, you can see the United players playing with a smile on their face. First of all, I don't want the players playing with a smile on their face. I want them playing snarling. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, that's because what I referenced earlier. Oh yeah, the other fella's gone. The king is dead. Long live the king. We now have a smile on our face, and we're going to try our best here. But really, down beneath it all is when they bring somebody like EAMONN in, who's a complete outsider, who has serious track record. Every single player there will be saying, I may not have a future here. I better knuckle down.
Yeah.
And by the looks of Ruben Amorim, sorry, Richie, by the looks of Ruben Amorim, I think he'll be hard on the players that aren't performing, won't he, compared to Ten Hag? He looks like he's done it, lay down the line, really, isn't he?
Yeah, well, I think he will. I think he will. He certainly won't take that messing about people not running back. And like Eamon said earlier on about the pace of Rashford, if you watched him before, he was half running back.
Yeah.
Half running back when he loses a ball. And there's nothing, as far as I'm concerned, if you lose a ball in the midfield and go back to the Giggs days, he'd run the full length of the pitch to make sure he'd say, give me back my ball. I'm taking back my ball. And every player should be like that. They shouldn't wait and let your man go. So what? It's not my job now. He's gone up the field. It should never be that situation. They should go back and say, I want my ball back, and go after it, no matter what happens. And they weren't doing that, but I think there'll be a bit of that.
Apart from tracking back, Dessie, now everything didn't help themselves yesterday. They were like, they were shocking. But like the amount of times Man United dispossessed them really high up the pitch, was remarkable.
Yeah. That's right. Well, actually, in fact, if you see the second of the third goal, it was actually the same, nearly identical on different sides of the pitch. Dispossessed, high up, and that's how they were scored. But look, they have to be put in the back of the net at the end of the day as well. But look, at the only thing I would say is that hopefully now we can see a bit of it gives them a little bit of confidence going into Arsenal on Wednesday, and that we come over with results.
But even when Arsenal were bad and United were good, and Arsenal are good and United were bad, it's a big game, and it's a big game in the Premier League. It's been traditionally one of the biggest games in the Premier League, and it's usually very tight.
Yeah, it'll be tight, and I think it'll be tight. No, I think it'll be tight on Wednesday. I'm not coming to the conclusion, but I think it will be tight on Wednesday. But just. If it's a good game, if I could get any positives out of it and get any positives out of that where we look different than we have been looking. Now, I have to say, it's bothered me, and this constant, if you were to count the amount of pass backs or playing out from the back that United have done more than any other team, I would say, under Ten Hag now. And I was counting them. There was actually one of the matches earlier in the there was 7 times in the first 4 minutes we passed back to the keeper. Now, as far as I can say, their full backs can see everything what's happening, can view that from the back and see it coming forward every time. If you constantly do the same thing all the time, of course it's time when you do that, when you pass back to keeper and you feed it back out, but not all the time. And it's like as if you gave an instruction. If you can't get it absolutely forward, don't go, don't take a chance, don't go for the run yourself, which is crazy. Yeah. So hopefully that changes, that we don't constantly do that. And I think that was a fault of ours last year. And in actual fact, we got caught a few times high up the pitch as well because of that same play. Yeah. That people cop onto it and start to learn. And it's a simple one. I know it's better than kicking the ball high up the pitch and that's it. But I think there's times for both types of play, but using the same pattern every time. Other teams just pick it up.
You worked out, yeah.
Well, look, just in terms of looking at the game on Wednesday, I mean, you can't really call these games. Again, with ourselves, you don't know, is Partey out, is Moreno out because they didn't play at the weekend?
Martinez is out.
What's that?
For the Arsenal match.
Yeah.
Martinez is out because of the fifth yellow card, and Mooney is out as well because of the fifth yellow card.
Oh, is he?
Mainu was out.
Yeah, Mainu was out as well.
Oh,
and who else did you say?
And
Martinez.
Yeah. Martinez is out. Yeah, but I think Fernandez could be under pressure too.
Is he?
He got a knock yesterday.
Did he? Okay.
Oh. You know, he went off. He had a nice pack on his ankle. But what I'm saying is that we lost 2 players in the day before the West Ham game. We lost Mikel Merino and Thomas Partey, and our midfield options look a bit light if them 2 weren't available. Jorginho was brilliant the weekend, but at 33, playing 2 games in 3 or 4 days. But no, I was going to say, actually, I didn't realise Mainu was out.
Yeah, he is. He picked up. Do you remember he lost the ball at about the 25-yard, nearly the 25-yard line, and he had to take one for the team.
Well, what I was going to say was that that him being back in the team is a big plus for them. But the one thing that struck me about Man United, even when they were playing badly, there's a lot of pace in that team. You know.
Yeah.
So
look, absolutely.
Yeah. Can I get? Yeah, I suppose with last season, we won 3-1 at the Emirates, and of course that's when Declan Rice introduced himself to the Arsenal fans when he got that goal. I think Rashford got the opener that day, but it was a really, you could say, really poor performance from United. That's when we really came out guns blazing, and then we won at Old Trafford 1-0 Trossard in the second half game. Would it be always? It's always been a big clash. This, from down the years. Could I get your favourite memories, Richie, of this fixture?
Dessie.
Sorry.
That's my brother.
We had Richie on 3 months ago.
Sorry, Richie, if you're listening, you're around in 2 weeks' time, mate.
I hope Richie's a good-looking fella.
You know, Richie. My mate Richie's
a dancer. See the fella.
He does Ken Barlow.
That's
Writing Deirdre.
No,
go ahead, Jonathan. What were you asking me?
You're the better looking half of Richie White. Can I get your favourite memories of the fixture?
Of the Arsenal fixtures?
Yeah, sorry, of the Arsenal Man United fixture. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Of the Man United fixture or Arsenal fixture?
Arsenal.
When I think back, the one that it actually makes me feel shivers is the 79, the cup. That's absolutely the one that shivers got through me when I even think about it every time, because I remember the day. I actually remember believe it or not, my first car, and you shouldn't have even driving it, but driving up to the Bellegarde up in Salah. Right, and we went from the Bellegarde down to Jobstown or somewhere like that on the day, like having drank a few pints, and we drove. And the atmosphere, like the pubs, was absolutely chocker. And you remember pulling the big screens there, because we weren't getting the type of coverage we get today. There was no such thing as dodgy boxes back then.
Well, they were, but they weren't on television. But I'll tell you what I'd say to you, Dessie. The younger people wouldn't understand. The FA Cup final was like the All Ireland final over here.
Absolutely.
Like it was a massive day. It was
always the first Saturday in May.
Yeah,
and so look forward to it. It was just something else. That's the one that absolutely sticks me out with Arsenal and the amount of Irish players back then. But as I said, someone said to me recently, there's not many Irish players in the English Premiership, and I said there's not that many English players in the English Premiership if you look at it. On any given day, at any given day, you could have, if you checked them, and I checked a match 2 weeks ago, I think it's even against Ipswich, and there was 4 English players in the whole lot.
Yeah.
So that time there was so many.
Cup final, by my reckoning, from the island of Ireland.
Yeah.
There were 8.
Yeah, I think 8. I think 8 as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't ask me to name them now, because my memory's not as good as it used to be.
Well, I think you had Jimmy Nicholl and Sammy McElroy.
Yeah.
Norman
and we
White.
had
stapled in.
What's that?
Stapled.
Norman Whiteside.
No, Norman Whiteside wasn't around in '79.
No, Norman Whiteside is only a bit later.
We'd Brady, Staple, and O'Leary, Jennings, Royce, and Nelson, and you had and I think McCreary was on the bench. That's 9, you know.
Possibly, yeah. Like, think about that for a second in comparison to today.
Today, yeah.
You know.
And, like, do you think as well? Do you think because it's that Irish contingent between the two sides on that day, did it give it that something extra, you know, being Irish?
Absolutely.
Well, yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. I can actually remember each goal being scored, and maybe you came back and won 3-2, right? It was like some of the Irish matches back then.
Yeah.
You know, like a bit later, of course, the Irish matches, but everything went up in the air. Everybody's drink went up in the air, and you know, it was.
Jonathan, at that time, I was only 13. Now, Dessie was well into his 50s by then.
Here, remember what I always say.
I couldn't contrast between his now.
Listen, here. Remember what I always say: if I get old, you're not dying young.
I tell you, support Man United and Arsenal. I don't know what I did. On the outside, I look 40, and the inside, I'm 80.
You sure it wasn't narrowing your birth cert?
Secretly, I'm a United fan. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, Dessie. Could I get the favourite goal from this fixture that you remember that stuck out for you between Arsenal and Man United?
Can't offhand. Now, I would have been much more prepared if I'd have known who's come on. I'd have done my research. But I think back, I can't actually offhand think back of it. You know, one that would jump out at me.
Yeah.
But no, I can't actually. I tell you one. I actually do. I actually have one. It's actually Anthony.
Oh yeah, that was right.
Anthony's goal. Yeah. Anthony's goal. He came down to. It was his first match, if you remember.
Yeah,
it was his first match against, and he came on against Arsenal at Old Trafford. I was at the match, and he came down along the right hand side, and just he'd done that. He tried it loads of times since. Hasn't worked for him. It's probably worked for him 3 times out of 25, if it has even that. But he actually done that on the day. And I was waiting for big things, but that was actually a fantastic goal against Arsenal. If you remember, I think we won that match 3-2, 3-1.
The goal disallowed from Martinelli.
That's just outside the box, which I didn't actually think was should have been disallowed.
It was a beauty, yeah.
There's one thing guaranteed Wednesday night, and I nearly put money on it, and I hate saying this. Marcus Rashford always scores against Arsenal.
Always scores.
Doesn't he?
Please God.
You could even say he's all over us like a Rashford.
Yeah. I knew that was coming.
I think you've been tuned that one up.
Hey,
he was dying to say that.
I gotta watch the chicken. I'm watching the chicken in the oven here, you know.
Yeah, no, it's.
Is he watching you?
Sports of a feather.
See, I've got the body of an 18-year-old. I keep her in the fridge at home.
Anyway,
briefly, Dessie, it's been a great preview show, and it's great having you on. Do you feel a bit more optimistic with Amorim in charge now ahead of Wednesday night's game than you would have been like a few weeks prior to his appointment?
I would have actually been doubting what I said, because Arsenal are playing really, really well at the moment, and as I said, had we been coming into it, yes, and that factor, we will. I think I have a feeling we get something out of it. Yeah, to be honest with you, you know, and that's like, I know that's sitting on the fence a little bit, but I think we might get something out of it, you know, and if we do that, if we come away with any form of result at all, I think we'll have done well, like considering how Arsenal are playing and where United have been. So. Yeah. But hopefully, we need to be getting wins. Them draws are no use for too many draws. We need to get back up there and start fighting and put a stop to the pool. Anything to put a stop to the pool.
Yeah. When you've 19 points at the moment, 2 or 3 victories and they're
Yeah,
right
I'll
back
bring
in
you
the
back
mix
up,
again. And what I noticed from Amorim's sides, he's like to start early, attack early. The goal against this, which was after I think about one or two first couple of minutes, but you could already see, as you said, there's a bit more desire from the players at United now, isn't there? You can see that they're hungry. From the few games I've seen, it's a completely different United than under Ten Hag.
That's right. It's faster.
Faster,
play.
Faster.
It's quicker. And they're using what they should be always using. They use that wide play to feed balls in because they have the players. They have the players that are well capable of doing it. I'd be raging if we lose any more than the 2 players we have already out. Fernando, if he's out, it'd be sad because we love him coming up the middle. And he's always likely to score you a goal. So, but anyway, look, I do hope he will be on you like a Rashford on take yours.
Could I get a score prediction from you, Dessie?
Yeah, I think me head is telling me it's going to be 1-0, and me heart is telling me it's going to be 2-1 for United.
You're that optimistic?
Huh?
You can't be an optimistic man, I suppose.
Of course.
Eamon, hand on heart, how do you feel the game going?
Well, no, I predicted that West Ham would win 28-1 last week. And by my calculations, I was only 20.
I was looking at the first half.
I was only 24 goals out. I'm not doing these predictions. I'm refusing to do them. But 1-1 sounds like a possible shout. I think we can win it 2-1. But you referenced that game, Jonathan, last season when United were terrible. I was at that game. The one that Declan Rice scored late on. And I'm telling you, Garnacho had a marginal offside call that would have put them 2-1 up with 10 minutes to go, and that would have been a totally different outcome. Look, I'm not in the business of doing predictions, but I think we're the more settled team. I think if we have our team out, we're playing at home. If everything goes well for us, we win the game. But that's not to say everything can go well. That's about as fairly as I could say it. Yeah.
Are you going over, Damon?
Yeah, I'm going over.
I thought you would be.
And guess who else is going
and
over?
The Grim. The Grim is going with you.
Every silver lining has a cloud. If we hadn't have got them 4 goals, we could have lost.
There. But But before I go, I have to reference the fact. Look at the super sites behind me. We got a new manager that took us all 9 wins in a row. At the end.
The problem now is you're the favourites, clear favourites next season.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't take that. It's a new season. But if we can hold a team, get 1 or 2 more players, we'd be okay.
Yeah, he's done a good job, hasn't he? He's really,
Well, remember, he had a bad start.
To watch again. They are really exciting to watch. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Who knows? Champions League football, and here we come.
Absolutely.
I'm the gaffer. No, it's great to have you on, Dessie, at such short notice. And
no problem.
It would be a pleasure to have you on for the return picture again.
Jonathan, the only thing I'd say before we wind up is that if we'd have given him any more notice at his age, he'd have forgotten.
I tell you, here, see, this is what happened to you, Juplets. You Juplets thing, here, I would have remembered. I wouldn't have known how to put on this computer thing. And anyway, use that Skype. Sure, I'm old enough to remember Skype.
I have to say, Dessie.
Anyway, here, the only thing I'd give you a bit more notice, I would have actually, I could have. So normally, I come on the like Roy Orbison, black as Ace of Spades.
You're not alone.
Sure, it takes ages for Eamon to manicure that head of his every week.
Well, I just left mine in to get done before this morning. Collected it at 4.
I have to say, you've done.
Right, enough is enough. Well, please end this show.
No, it's been a great pleasure, and it's been a great laugh having you on, Dessie.
No problem.
I wish you the best for the forthcoming, for the best part of the rest of the season, Dessie. And hopefully it'll be a cracking match Wednesday night.
Let's hope so.
Dessie Robinson, Manchester United fan through and through. Thanks for coming on, pal. And also,
You'll see it for a beer before Christmas, pal.
You will indeed. Listen, I'll talk to you soon. Be good. Cheers. Take care.
And also to Eamon Donnelly, catch our show on the Dublin Arsenal YouTube channel. And have a good week, lads. Thanks for coming on.